Have you ever felt like your resume was being ignored?
One eternity later.
Almost as if the employer was ghosting you on purpose.
Hell no, man. What the?
Maybe you think the reason for this is because you lack the skills they want. Or maybe they already picked somebody else for the role. Someone better. Well, I'm here to tell you that it could be because your resume is not optimized. You see, companies use software known as applicant tracking systems, or ATS for short, to sort through hundreds of resumes every day. This is especially true in large companies. Your resume is probably being filtered out by these systems, hence why you're getting overlooked.
Pass. Smash.
In this video, I'll be making something known as a resume parser, which is the part of an ATS that reads and deciphers files. I'll also be sharing what I learned so that you can improve your own resume and not get filtered out anymore. Here are the tools and technologies I'm going to be using for this project. I chose Docker to run the PHP server because it makes setting up the project very easy on different operating systems. This is for when I give the codebase to you guys. A resume parser sounds complicated, but it's actually simple in nature. The idea is you upload the resume to the parsing tool, it scans the file for important information, extracts that information, and returns it to you so that you don't have to go looking for it. This is very useful if a resume has more than one page, which, believe me, can happen, or has large chunks of text. Important information can include things like the applicant's contact info, their skills, experience, and education. Uploading a resume requires a system to keep track of who owns which file. My plan is to create a login and sign up page first, hook them up to the database, and link the user account table to another table in the database that keeps track of resume file names. Since it's possible for resumes to share the same file name and extension, I decided that the resumes will be saved under a random name instead. This is to prevent new uploads from overwriting old ones in the server's file system. This can be done using randomly generated hashes. I will still keep the original names, but they will be stored in the resume's database record as an alias. Using HTML, Sass, and Bootstrap, I created the login and sign up pages. I made them responsive so they scale with the browser's window width. I also created a server-side code that handles logins and signups. I didn't bother making the authentication system secure since this project is intended for private personal use. I won't be explaining how all of this works since it's not relevant to resume parsing. When the user logs in successfully, they're taken to the dashboard where the resume parsing happens. I decided to hold off on designing its UI since I didn't know all the features I needed, and I didn't want to have to redesign it over and over again. For now, I only added a logout button and a form for uploading resumes. I then implemented a server-side code for handling resume uploads. How it works is, when the user sends their resume or resumes to the server first checks to see if all the files are either Microsoft Word documents or PDFs. These are the typical file formats for resumes according to ChatGPT. Then it goes over all the files that were uploaded, changes their name to a random hash, and saves them on the server's file system. Word documents are converted to PDFs beforehand. This is because I wanted to implement a way to display resumes to the user, and I found a library that can do that, but it only works for PDFs. The conversion itself is done by sending the resumes to an independent server called Gutenberg. It runs in Docker alongside the PHP server. Gutenberg processes the resumes and sends them back. In the dashboard, I created a list to show all the resumes uploaded by the user. The list also has a button for deleting all of them. What it does is it tells the server to delete the resume from its file system and the database. I told you that a resume parser scans and extracts information, but what I didn't tell you is that my one filters resumes before doing that. You see, there's no hard limit on the number of resumes a user can upload. If the parser just scans and extracts info from all of them, then the speed of the entire parsing process becomes dependent on the amount of uploads. This is a bottleneck, not good. That's why I came up with a system that involves using keywords to select specific resumes for parsing. It returns only those that have at least one of the keywords and displays them in a list. When the user clicks on one of them, only that resume is parsed. This is the UI for filtering. I made a keyword list that can be populated with a field. The keywords will appear with an X button that allows the user to delete them. Once the user is happy with their keywords, they can hit the Find button to start the filtration. The results of the filtration are displayed below. As you can see, the number of keywords found in a specific resume is shown alongside its original name. Again, just to remind you that all of this UI is temporary. Oh, and the code for adding and deleting keywords is written in JavaScript, since all of this happens on the user's browser and not the server. Before I talk about parsing, I just want to let you guys know that I won't be showing any more code from this point on, because I realize this project's potential to be a commercial product. I haven't decided how I'm gonna sell it yet, but for now I'm gonna be keeping the rest of its implementation hidden. Okay, with that out of the way, it's time to talk about parsing. How is it done? Well, after the user filters the resumes, they can click on one of the results, which will tell the server to scan that specific resume. The server uses my algorithms to extract info that might be useful to a recruiter, like email addresses, phone numbers, and URLs. So basically contact info. As for skills, experience, and education, I couldn't come up with an algorithm for extracting them since there's no agreed structure on how they're written. So instead, I decided that I'll implement keyword highlighting as an alternative when I create the resume viewer. This will work because the keywords used to filter resumes will be information that a recruiter already knows or is expecting, so extraction is redundant. All the recruiter needs to know is, which skills or experience does the applicant have? Do they have a certification or degree? And if so, is it in one of the well-known institutions? Highlighting makes it easy to find all of this info. So this is the new dashboard. As you can see, I made a lot of changes and improvements. The interface you saw before is here on the left, and the area on the right is where resumes are displayed. I'm going to give you guys a demo on all the features, starting off with this section I call the Resume Manager. This is where the user can add or delete resumes. They can choose to upload one or more files. The list below shows which ones were selected. To change it, the user will have to redo the entire selection. Uploading a file that is in a Word doc or a PDF will cancel the entire upload and result in an error message. To delete uploads, there are two options. One of them is self-explanatory, but for the other one, the user has to first select the ones they want to delete. This is done with the cursor. Now for the keyword tool, it works exactly like before, except this time to delete the keywords, the user has to click on them and hit the remove button. Clicking on the find button starts the filtration. The results appear below the keyword tool like before. By the way, all of these lists become scrollable after a certain amount of items, so the user doesn't have to worry about the page getting stretched. Now for the resume viewer, it works by clicking on a resume in the filter results list or in the upload list. If a resume in the filter results list is clicked, keywords are highlighted and contact info is extracted. The info can be seen in this modal window. The resumes in the upload list are just for previewing, so there's no highlights or contact info. Okay, that's pretty much all the features, but there's one more thing worth mentioning. All of this UI is responsive to the browser's window width. Now why is this important? Because the parser can be used side by side with another program or website. This can help speed up workflows. To optimize your resume, do the following. Choose a linear layout that goes from top to bottom. This makes it easier for recruiters to read your resume in a short time span. Also, resume parsers only see blocks of text, so other layouts can actually scatter information. Organizing information linearly makes it easy for you to put important information at the start to take advantage of search algorithms. I recommend ordering information like this. Contact details first, then skills, experience, education, and bio. The last one is optional. Next, when you're typing words, make sure the characters are adjacent. Do not put spaces in between the characters because this makes it difficult for parsing algorithms to understand the information. Use common formats for things like emails, phone numbers, URLs, and dates. Don't try to be quirky. Photos take up precious space and leaves you open to discrimination and unconscious bias, so get rid of them. Make sure to summarize past experience. Don't just mention where you worked and what your role was. Look up the STAR method. Lastly, only put information that's relevant to the job in your resume. Look at the job's requirements for clues. If you're interested in the codebase for this project, you can find the first version on my GitHub. It's completely free to use for both commercial and non-commercial purposes. However, if you want the second version, you're gonna have to wait until my website is up. I plan to sell all my advanced projects there, and maybe courses as well, so be sure to subscribe for the announcement. Okay, the video is pretty much done at this point, so if you enjoyed it or you learned something new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more of my projects in the future. Thanks for watching.